Hey guys, it's been a while, but I figured it was about time I came to you with another Super Metroid ROM hack video. The hack we're going to talk about today is Super Metroid Rotation. This hack was created and developed by SmileUser96 on January 1st, 2016. If you haven't guessed already, this game is exactly how it sounds. It's Super Metroid, but everything's turned on its side. And you might also be thinking, that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. Well, you'd be half right. Anyway, let's get into it. Rotation plays exactly like vanilla SM, except the world map takes a gigantic right turn. Every single room in the game is spun, and you'll notice immediately the changes implemented when you're forced to wall jump all the way up to enter the first door once you land on Zebes. In fact, wall jumping is a common trend. If you're familiar with SM and how the rooms work, you'll know that around 70% of the rooms are horizontal, left to right, right to left, and make them incredibly easy to traverse by simply running through them. So yeah, this can be considered a curse here. This trend means that most rooms are now entirely vertical, and you'll spend more than half of your playthrough wall jumping through rooms to simply progress. Although in the grand scheme of things, there really aren't a lot of revolutionary changes made to the game, the act of turning the game on its side and having to traverse the rooms in a new way is enough to make any diehard SM fan excited at the new challenge. The main enemies take a different turn when it comes to the rotation of Zebes as well, and this actually is one of the most interesting parts of the entire hack. The very intriguing thing about how the bosses function in rotation is literally how the rooms are built around them, and how SmileUser96 made them actually work. As you know, Kraid's room's a horizontal room with spikes on the floor where Kraid rises from. In rotation, he rises from the wall where the door to Varia suit is, and you're required to use the giant spikes he shoots out to reach the mid-air platforms to deal damage to him. Fantoon's room is pretty similar, but you definitely have less room to move left to right, making it very cramped, and just an overall kind of annoying experience when trying to dodge his flames and swoops. Ridley's room is actually very nice because, as you know, in vanilla, it's a tall vertical room where he'll always just fly upwards, dodging your attacks. But here, it's a very easy fight where you can just run left to right, drowning him in supers and plasma shots. Dragon, however, is where you start to realize not every change necessarily seems fair. Her room being flipped can be incredibly frustrating because you have the turrets on the floor shooting you, and if you destroy them, they'll shock you. You also have the turret on the ceiling constantly attacking, which is also really annoying because you have to execute precise wall jumps in order to destroy it. Not to mention everything else that's going on in the room, with the turret shooting and Dragon swooping and gooing and all sorts of different things. It just kind of makes for an overall frustrating experience. You also have far less horizontal room to move around. You can't properly secure a grapple kill, and this makes the battle with the oversized shrimp feel like you're the one being microwaved. Oh, quick note. The Crocomire battle is the only part in the game that has remained completely the same as the original. I'm guessing the reason for this is that there just isn't a good way to make that fight work, considering Croc is locked to the floor. And you'd either fall right into him and take a bunch of damage, or fall right past him and screen wrap multiple times, getting yourself stuck out of bounds. It would have been really cool to see something implemented here, but I get it. As simple as the concept seems, it can make a lot of normal traversal complicated and disorienting. Even in the author's notes, SmileUser states, and I quote, "Enemies are still normal, it's harder than you might think, and have fun wall jumping." This stands true through most of the entire playthrough. Some rooms are just so incredibly easy, like the Criteria Climb and Red Tower, where other rooms are just downright rage-inducing nightmares. The rooms leading up to Ridley are just ridiculous. You have to wall jump up a single tile space and bomb a block that leads to multiple Death's Giga waiting to deal massive damage to you. Spike traps that you need to vertical bomb jump over, and awkwardly placed metal pirates where you have absolutely no room to deal with them in a clean and efficient manner. Water, lava, and acid all pool at the bottom of rooms when you enter them from the bottom, so you essentially enter rooms taking damage or being slowed if you're not prepared. Some rooms seem to be rather glitchy and don't make much logical sense on their side. One room I had the hardest time figuring out how to progress through was the Meridia tube. It took me over 20 minutes to figure out how to effectively break the tube with a power bomb and not just fall back down into the room below. I mean, I get that that's just how the room is, but it makes it super frustrating when the tube is supposed to be a focal point of progression into Meridia. And sure, one could go all the way around wrecked ship to the backside of Meridia and get in through that way, but it just seems to add confusion to which direction is intended to properly progress. So, here comes the big question. Stun, should I play rotation? And my answer to that is, it really depends. If you're a seasoned Super Metroid player and you're very well versed in wall jumping and dealing with abnormally placed enemies, as well as non-vanilla style boss fights, then yeah, for sure. It introduces a new, interesting challenge that pushes the player to think outside the box to get through these newly rotated rooms. But I'd say if you're still a bit uncomfortable with wall jumping or health management, this hack could prove to be increasingly frustrating. Case in point is that there's just some rooms that are entirely unfair and don't play well flipped. So if you're already pretty new to the game, these changes will not at all feel welcomed. Overall though, rotation does a great job in challenging people to look at SM vanilla in a brand new way and accomplishes that in droves. In fact, there are people who took this new challenge and crushed it. A speedrunner by the name of Feral excels in speedrunning rotation, and it's absolutely insane to see some of the strats that can be utilized in a run when the game is rolled on its side. I highly suggest you check his world record run out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. It's a must watch. So with that said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I hope you take the time to at least check it out, because it's a truly interesting experience. Thank you all for showing your support and by watching, and I hope if you like this content, you'll consider liking and subscribing. But yeah, this has been Stun, and I'll see you next mission.